Okay, so today's daf, we're up to the Mishnah on Chaf Hey on the base. Right? With again continuing on how distance you have to make your things um, from your neighbor so that you don't come to negatively affect things. Right? Yes, Zok the Mishnah. Marchikin as ilan min habar esrim b'chamesh am. You have to take. No, we sorry. We did the Mishnah. We did the Mishnah a little bit of Gemara. Sorry. We're up to the not that it would hurt the Chazah, but we're up to the two dots, 5 lines up from the bottom. So we said Shitas Rabbi Yossi, and we said it a few times throughout this parak, that Shitas Rabbi Yossi is that a person, a potential damager, does not have to be concerned with damaging somebody else. You have to play defense. The person who may get damaged is supposed to protect himself. Right? So that's Shitas Rabbi Yossi. So Rabbi Yossi Aimer, yeah, again, I'm sorry, it's 6 lines up in the bottom. Rabbi Yossi, this one digs, this one digs, and this one, and then it's meaning each one you dig, meaning you dig your bar, you do what you got to do, and the other guy will cut down his tree or whatever or plant this tree. Meaning you can do whatever you need to do. Finished, right? Some Rav Yehuda Shmuel halacha Rav Yossi. The halacha is like Rav Yossi. I just lost the place. However, and we had this before also, Rav Ashi said that Rav Kahana said that Rav Yossi's murder when it's his own arrows, meaning this that Rav Yossi is saying that you have to just play defense, you don't have to worry about damaging somebody. That's if he's not actually causing a problem, meaning there's some sort of groma here. But if it's coming direct from his arrows, meaning a mazik can't just go sitting and can't shoot arrows into his neighbor's yard and say, it's my neighbor's problem, let him put up a big fence that it blocks my arrows. Right? He can't do that. Right? Yeah. So Papi Yoina Ani Behesherava. So Papi with Yoina, he was Rashi was the name of his town. So he was the rags to riches. So he was an Ani and then he became wealthy. Bonafton, and he built a mansion. He
was big Papi.
Big Papi, very good. It's true, Tucker. He also made the comeback, no? He went from rags to riches. Yeah, so this Papi guy, Havahanach Atsuri Bishavu say that with these pressers, a press. Atsuri means a press, and Rashi says it was a sesame press. Right, to make sesame oil. Right, when these guys were using their press, his whole palace or mansion, whatever you want to call it, his big fancy house would shake. So here it is, this guy was poor, he became wealthy, builds a big house, and then he's got these sesame oil makers who are making his whole house shake. It's also commended Rav Ashi on Maleki Havon Bei Rav Kahana Havam Amran Amrina. We said Moider Rav Yosef Begiri delay. Rav Yossi is Moider by his arrows. So if you're doing a direct mazik, then it's the mazik's fault. So therefore, these guys are they're the ones causing the shaking. So therefore, they have to stop doing it. The Kama. So the Gemara says, and how much? Right? Meaning how much shaking is too much that they have to stop. So the Gemara answers, says Machlokes Rashi Tosfos what this means. It's enough, the way Rashi touches it, if you take a pot and you would put it on the wall, then the pot cover would be shaking in the pot. That's how much shaking. I mean, you'd have to experiment. You put your pot down on a wall, and you and you see and how much shaking is it. If it makes it shake like that, then it's a problem. That's according to Rashi. Right? So Tosfos, and it's interesting, Tosfos brings a re that says if it would shake that much, that means his wall's near it's gonna near to be falling down. Right? Meaning that's a no-brainer that they would have to stop. He's saying more that it shakes a little bit. Yeah. Meaning like when you carry a pot cover, so sometimes the pot cover shakes, would have to be something like that. That's Shitas Tosfos. Okay, whatever it is, it has to be some sort of shaking to the pot cover in the pot. Tevema Marion braid the Raven ki have a nafti kisna. So by the Bava Marion, who was the son of Raven, so when they would be nafti kisna was when they would hit flax in order to get it. One of the processes, I think it's before they soak it, you'd hit it to try and get all the junk off of it. Hava Azla Rakso Maska Inchi, the Raksa, the Rachman called it the shaft, but the chaff, that's the way I always thought it was. The junk would go out and Maska Inchi would hit people and would hurt them. Also, look at Ravina. Amralo when he said Kiamrina might be delay. So if this stuff is flying out from his flax, so then that's mamish like his arrow. Right? So Kiamrina might be delay. Hani mili to cause them mikoicha. That's if it's going from his koyach. Hacha ziku the kamamtile. Here, the wind, it's the wind that's taking it. It's not him that's not taking it. It's the wind. This is now we get into a real heavy duty shaila and how Hilchas Shabbos works. Right? This Gemara, it's the real.
Is he saying a difference between koicha and koyach?
It's I don't know exactly what he's saying.
Because all these cases are not koicha. Because that wouldn't be gear delay. That would be hezek mamish. That wouldn't be a chiddush. Everyone agrees in that case. If you're at gear delay, it's not a chiddush. You're mazik mamish. So what's the difference?
Which case? In which case?
Any of the even gear delay can't be koicha mamish.
What?
Koicha mamish is hezek. It's not a shiloh. That's not a shiloh of, everyone would agree in such a case you can't do that. Forget about Rabbi Yossi. Stop. Koicha is mazik mamish. We're not talking about koicha. The chiddush is even not koicha. You have to be market.
Right. Okay. So let's see the Gemara's next kasha. Right. Right. Let's see, because this is mamish. You get into groma akiva. This is for you. This is mamish for you. This sugya here, right? So what the Gemara is saying that when he is beating the flax and the junk is flying, that's not really. It's the wind that's carrying the junk. Right? So maskavlo marba Ravashi, ma'ishnom mizoyra v'ruach misayasa. Why is that different than one of the lamates malachas is zoyra, right? Which is that you throw the grain up into the air and then the wind comes and separates it. That's a daraisa chiyav karas, right? If you do that, the wind is blowing it, you're not doing it, right? It's a grama.
Why is that a kasha?
Why not?
That's the malach of zoyra. Whatever the malach is,
correct. That's
you're creating the malach of zoyra. Why is that a kasha? Whatever zoyra is, there is. If zoyra is grama, the ayr terah asher grama. What does one have to do with the other? It's a malacha. Malachas are chiddush terah that you're also to do malacha on Shabbos. Who cares if it's a grama? Whatever the gender of the malacha is, whatever the mechanics of the malacha is, that's usher. So if it's grama, that's the gender of the malacha, and it's usher. Why is that a kasha?
What do you mean? That is the issue.
Why is that?
What do you mean? What happens if you throw it up in the air and nothing happens and it doesn't separate?
So then that's not zoyra.
That's what I'm asking.
That's not the mechanics of zoyra.
You did the same mechanics. The mechanics are there.
I agree.
Nothing changed in what you did.
So they're asking on
it
the
has to be. That's part of it.
That is zoyra. I'm saying you need help.
Right. So maybe zoyra would be if you yourself separate the junk from the grain. Right? Either way, the Gemara, that's the Gemara's kasha. The Gemara doesn't even answer it. Right? The Gemara doesn't even answer it because the Gemara answers it in Shabbos, right? But meaning it's sort of the answer is sort of what Akiva was saying, that is the malacha. By you doing it, so then that causes, meaning you're putting it into the wind in order to get the wind to separate, and that's all part of the cheshbon, right? Okay, but let's see. But so the Gemara doesn't answer that here. So then the Gemara continues, says Amruah kamed marema, and they said in front of marema, Amar lahu hainu zayra v'ruach masayasai. This is Zoyra and Ruach Masayasai. And therefore, the guys that are, again, what happened here? They were hitting the flax. When they hit the flax, the stuff was flying out, even though it's assisted by the wind. So it should be no different than Shabbos, by Zoyra of Shabbos, and they should have to leave. They should be mechuyev to leave. So Gemara says, okay, well, Ravina, Mashna, according to Ravina, who says that that they have to do this, right? Right? Meaning, I'm sorry, that they could stay. Why is it any different than a spark that comes out of the blacksmith's hammer that he has to pay? Why is that not considered like the wind took it? Rashi says, right? Again, we're trying to juggle three different cases. We're trying to juggle the junk coming off of flax and Zoyra L'Ruach that on Shabbos, and the sparks. So when I answers Hasam Nichale Delezel, there it's Nichale that he's happy that it goes far. Right? Meaning he hits it. He doesn't want these sparks going on his property. He wants it to be off his property. So he hits it very hard, hoping that the sparks travel really far. Right? But here, he'd be very happy if the chaff doesn't go far. Maybe as like yesterday's daf, right? That maybe it actually would work as what do you call it, compost or whatever it is, right? So there, meaning it's all part of what he wanted to do, right? So since by the spark he wants it to fly into somebody else's property, so therefore he's going to be chayiv if it does damage. But by the flax, he's not going to be chayiv if it doesn't do that. Again, according to Ravina.
If by the flax he wanted the floor clean, so then it would be then it'd be chayiv.
What?
If he wanted the floor clean.
If he wanted the floor.
You're saying why didn't he want it? Maybe he did want it. Maybe he wanted the floor clean from chaff. He didn't want the chaff on the floor.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's going to travel that far. I don't think you wanted to. I think you know what the truth is. The truth is that it would probably, you're probably right. Depending on what the I don't think we have to say that it's one size fit all. We'll say it's subjective, no? That's what I would think. Meaning it depends, depending on what you want.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the next mission. A person should not plant a tree next to his friend's field. Your tree has to stay 4 amos away from the neighbor's yard. Echad gefanim ve'echad kol ilan, doesn't make a difference if it's grapevines or any type of tree. All right? Why? We'll see in the Gemara, but the Gemara, because the reason is, we had this before, that you need 4 amos for the plow. So if you're going to have a tree right on the border, the guy's not going to be able to plow on the border. You got up in time, but if there's a fence in between the 2 properties, each one can plant right up to it, because the plow is obviously not going to go into the neighbor's property because there's a fence there. So he'll know how to figure it out. Right? So that's subject number 1. And now another subject, right? If the shroshim are going out, right? Meaning the, what do you call shroshim?
roots.
Yes, roots. Thank you. Let's say, and this happens a lot. A guy has a tree on his border, and then the roots go into the neighbor. So can the neighbor cut them down? So if meaning he could take it, go down to a depth of 3 tfachim of roots, because if he's going to want to plow, and he's got the roots from his neighbor's tree, then it's going to bust his plow. So a plow goes down 3 tfachim into the ground. But if the neighbor is digging holes, right? Different size holes, different shape holes. Then the guy can cut down the guy's roots as far down as he wants to go. The eitzim shaloi, and the eitzim belong to him. Right? Right. So that's what you're allowed to do with the guy's roots. Again, if he's just going to be planting there, so then he only has a right to knock down the roots that are 3 tfachim into the ground. If he plans on digging holes, then he can dig as far down as he wants. So this 4 amas that we said that you need to keep between the trees and the person's the neighbor. That's how, and we know this from learning Klayim. We know that a kerem, if it has a vineyard, you need 4 amas of space in order to be able to deal with the vineyard. But that's only in Eretz Yisrael. Bavel shtei amas. In Bavel, they only use 2 amas wide plows. So therefore, in Bavel, you only have to stay away 2 amas. What we see from this is that it's all these halachas are dependent on the location and the community and what their normal hanhag is, and whatever their hanhag is, that's what you're going to do. A person should not plant a tree near the sada of his friend, unless it stays 2 amas. But we said 4 amas. It must be like Shmuel, that one is talking about Bava, one is talking about Eretz Yisrael, Shmamina. That's what we're saying. Some ask it as a kasha. It's not a person shouldn't plant a tree next to this friend's field. Unless it stays away Dalet Amas. But it said 2 amas. Shmuel like kasha come Bavel come Eretz Yisrael. Bottom line is we have 3 different versions, but basically what it's saying is that in Bavel it's 2 amas wide, the plows, and here it's 4 amas wide in Eretz Yisrael. Fine. Rava Bar Rav Gemara brings 2 stories of neighbors fighting. So Rava Bar Rav Chanan Habalei Hanuk Dikli, he had palm trees on Mitzvah the Pardisa de Rav Yosef, and it was on the border of the Pardes of Rav Yosef. Hava Asut Tzipari Yosef Dikli. So what do birds do? Birds came and hang out on his date tree. But Nachsi Pardisa Masile, and then when they do is they fly off his trees and they go eating his fruits, his grapes. Samalei. So he said to Rabbi Bar Rav Chanan, Zil cuts, you got to cut down your palm trees because the birds that are going on there are damaging me. But I listened to the Chachamim and I kept the trees more than 4 amas away. That's what the Mishnah says.
Is it not like Rav Yosi?
Oh, so Akiva was saying, okay, when am I going to have to say this kasha? Because Akiva should be asking it. All right, very good. He didn't disappoint me. And it's not right. Right.
So why would Rav Yosef have a time?
Oh, right. I don't know. I think that's really what he's answering back. I did what the Chachamim said, right? And all the other rest of the damage, it's not Giri Dili, right? I think that's built into the kasha, but I'm not sure. So Amalei, Rav Yosef said to him, that's by trees. By trees, you keep away 4 amas. But with grapes, you need more than that, right? I guess I'm not sure why. Meaning, why grapes any more than any other fruit? Maybe they go after grapes more. I don't know. Okay, but that's what he told him back to. So he said, but the Mishnah says it doesn't. We don't differentiate between trees and grapes. Amarle, so said to him, that's when you have two fields, one of trees and another one of trees, or one of grapevines and another one of grapevines. From trees to grapevines, then you need more than 4 avos, right? Which is certainly not pashup shot in the Mishnah, but that's the way he's learning it. Now it doesn't say how much you need, right? Okay, then but in the Mishnah, the Gemara, the story continues. I'm not like kites. He says, listen, I'm not cutting it down. Why not? A dekel that has a kav of fruit on it, you are not allowed to cut it down because of baltashkis, right? Meaning it's mashma less than a kav, you are allowed to cut it down. I mean, it's not considered fruit bearing tree. My son Shichas didn't die. Ella the cuts ta'ansa v'loy zimne. We had this at the end of Mitzvah. Right? The only reason why he died is because he died early because he cut down a fig tree before it's when it still had fruit, meaning before it was dead. Once it doesn't have fruit on it, then for sure you can cut it down. But he cut down a fruit tree. This is where we get, the people get scared from cutting down fruit trees, and they're all scared because of this Gemara of him dying. When the real issur is that you can't cut down a fruit tree because it's baltashis. So what the based on a Sefer Chassidim, I think, right, that it's the pshat is that yes, if you have a good reason to cut down the tree, then it's not a problem. You have a good reason to cut down the tree, no problem. That's not a problem about tashis because you have a good reason. However, you have this al pi Kabbalah type thing that it would be a problem. Fine. So
that's the punishment for cutting down one tree is misa.
Yeah, isn't it strange?
What's better?
Seems a little harsh, no?
Sprinkle me the can I get me the now? The Avisha says you cut down my fruit, I cut down your fruit.
Suda.
What do you say?
Soda. That's what they hear. Cutting down the tree.
You're saying that yourself, or you've heard that?
No, I just said it.
Oh, that's very good. Maybe. I never heard that. That's good.
Gershon led me to think it. Hashem Yisborach led me to think it, but through Gershon's comment, that's why I said it.
What?
Because of Gershon's comment, that's why I said it.
I hear. It's very good.
Yeah, but Hashem Yisborach put it in my head.
So okay, I don't know. It's Kabbalistic thing. The Chassidim are wild with this. The Chassidim are mamish wild with this. So what we do is we sell it to a guy. That's one of the loopholes that we do. We sell it to a guy.
What you're doing is different than
yeah. But anyways, okay. So let's see weiter. So he told him, Mar, if you want, you cut it down. Right? Yeah, so we see this we have also by, oh no, I'm sorry, I mixed it up. I didn't make whatever. I thought we had at the end of Bamatzia. At the end of Bamatzia, we had not taking down mezuzahs, right? And this is one of the loopholes that they use for mezuzahs. If you have a shiloh where you can take down the mezuzah, have somebody else take it down. Yeah, I mixed it up. Right, so it's a similar thing. Taking down mezuzahs, taking down fruit trees, all these things you shouldn't do.
This was at the end of Bava Kama. You went far off.
Wasn't that Bamatzia?
The fruit trees, I think, is Bava Kama. It goes late to somewhere.
Fruit trees is Bava Kama. I think it's in Achayva also.
The fruit trees is Bava Kama. I thought you said it. Yeah, mezuzahs. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the Baita. Rapapa, a lot of guys here. Rapapa Havale Hanu Dikli. Rapapa had palm trees. Another story. On the border of Huna Breder Yeshua. Azal Ashkechet to have a chafa. And he came and he found Rav Huna Breder of Yeshua. He was digging. the Kakoy's Russia, and he was cutting down the roots. Right, Amalei, my high. So he said to him, what is this? Right? So let me just move away from here because they're doing, I don't know, some sort of camping here. Right? See, Amalei said, my high. Why are you taking my roots? Amalei, so he said to him, Tanan, we learned in a Mishnah, how you shroshim yatzon l'say right? If the roots are going into his friend, you're allowed to knock off the roots up until 3 tvachim, so it doesn't mess with his plow. So Amalei, that's 3. Marka chafar tvei, but you're digging much deeper. Amalei, I know bayras shichun amaris kachafarna. I'm digging. I'm the reason why I'm knocking down your roots is because I'm going to be digging holes. He cut it down, and the heitzim are his. So I'm relay, kuli, right? So Rapapa said, I said to him, all my rayas, and he's not listening. Right? And I can't get him to listen to me. Right? So what are we gonna do here? So Anton Bebeis. So Ada Amri Lay, he says, now actually I'm stuck. He's not listening to any of my rayas, and he keeps digging. Ada Amri Lay, until I told him, I told him what Rabbi Yehuda said, by Rabbim, if you have a boundary that the Rabbim uses, also lakalkala, you're not allowed to be makalkalit. So there's a big, you see, that's a huge tois, a very large toises. It disagrees with Rashi's pshat. Rashi's pshat is saying that the same way that the public, if you let the public use your property, right? If you let the public use your property for 3 years, then you can never stop them. So Rashi's saying the same thing here. You let this guy have trees with roots going into property for 3 years already, and you never said anything, therefore you can never stop him. To which Taisa says, we only find this din by the public. We don't find it by the private. The Basra the Nafak, after he left, Omar, he said, meaning, so that's how he got him to stop. He said, you have never complained to me in the last 3 years, so how can you complain now? So he won him over. But then the boss of the Nafak, Omar, after he left, he said, Omar, I should have told him, right? That's the way it always works. When you have a disagreement with somebody and he slugs you up, and then once the argument's over, you think, oh, I could have said this. So the person only has rights to knock off his roots or to keep his roots up to 16 amas. After 16 amas, the roots no longer provide any sort of sustenance to the tree. Right? Even though we said 25, we keep saying 25. So saying 25 is that's all connected to the tree, but the ikar is 16. Right? Fine. So that's what he should have told him. Okay, so those are the 2 stories about these things. Fine. Then the Gemara says a lot of math coming up from the next block. So we said in the Mishnah that if the guy,
Yaakov,
yeah,
excuse me, why is the fruit trees any more possession of the Rebbeinu Shalom than somebody's children? What's the difference? I mean, if the Rebbeinu Shalom owns the whole world, so the fruit trees are on your farm, so he owns them. So why doesn't he own somebody's children also? I don't understand what's the difference.
Again, I'm not sure what you're saying.
The fruit trees are not growing in the base of Migdash; they're growing on my farm. My children are growing on my farm also. So if the Rebbeinu Shalom is saying if somebody's cheppers with his fruit trees, he gets upset. He owns because it's his fruit trees. So what? So doesn't he own all the people also? Like what? What's the difference?
No, I'm saying, but a fruit tree, I'm saying, is there a workaround around the fruit tree?
I don't know what that means.
Meaning, what's the option here with the fruit tree? What was his taina?
I don't know, and I don't know what when Gershon and Benny was saying. What's it? What?
No, because the Gemara is saying that he lost his son because his son doesn't say why the son chopped down the fruit tree. The Gemara doesn't say why. He was saying, I don't want to do it because I lost the son already. Sounds like he had PTSD. I'm not how to say it like that. I'm saying, says my son died because he prematurely because he cut down a fruit tree prematurely. Right? So he didn't want to risk it. Right? So yeah. So I meaning
So
it doesn't
the saying that the Baruch is going to kill another one of his creations because somebody killed one of his creations. Why? What does that do?
I don't know. I don't know the can. It's Kabbalistic type things. What should I tell you? It is.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't understand it, but if I could tell you one thing, it gets people very nervous. How much I could tell you.
Yeah, we know. Yeah.
Yeah. You got some saying like, let's say the most common question is like these berries. They don't know if it's edible, not edible. Gets all over the sidewalk, and everybody gets dirty, and all this type of things. Yeah. Okay. Let's see weiter. So anyway, so we said that if you dig up the not the branch, what we call it, the roots. So you dig up the roots, so then the guy could keep the roots. Seemingly, the Mishnah says that the one whose property the roots is in could keep them. So Bamina Yaakov Hadaiva Mirav Chisda, Yaakov Hadaiva asked Rav Chisda, Eitzim Shomi, right? Who gets to keep the wood? Right? Meaning it's not so pashut in the Mishnah. To me, when I understood the Mishnah, it sounds like the guy who cut the roots is the one that keeps it. But doesn't seem to be that's so pashut. So when it says who gets to keep it, so we learned that Shrasha Hilan Shel Hedjit. If you have roots of a tree of a hedjit, that means it's a regular common tree. And then his neighbor, either his neighbor or he himself made part of the field hektish. And now the roots went into the hektish. So Shrosha Yilan Shel Hedjit, Habayin B'Shel Hektish, that go into a hektish property. So now, what can you do with these roots? So the roots hektish because it's in hektish property, or do we say no? The roots go with the tree, right? So loy nanin, you're not allowed to be nana from it. For loy mayalin, but you're not over on meila if you get benefit from it. Meaning meila, if you use it by b'shayging, then you have to pay a fifth, and you have to bring a carbon, right? If you say that we go with the tree, right? So then that's why you're not moil, because the tree is not part of hektish. But if you say we go with the karka, why are you not over meila? You should be over on meila if you go with the karka. Elamai must be that the roots belong to whoever owns the tree. So when it says elamai, Basar, what do you want to say, Basar? You want to say that we go with the tree? I am a sefer, and what about the sefer? Shal hektish, haboyim b'shal hedji. Let's say it's the opposite. You have a hektish tree, and the roots go into the neighbor, right? Can he be nana from it? So we say loy nanan b'loy mayolin. Same din. He can't benefit from it, and he's not over me. Levi Basar ilan azlinon. And if you say that we say the roots go with the tree, why is he not over on Meila? So Gemara answers me the area. Is this even a shaila? And we're talking about roots that grew after the field became hektish, meaning the tree was there and it was just planted. Then the roots started to grow, but only after the field was made hektish. Because Savar ain't meila b'gidulin, and the Tana holds that there's no meila on things that grow new. Meaning, if somebody takes an apple tree, makes it hektish, and then he plants it in the ground, or he plants it in the ground and then it becomes hektish. Right? Now it grows more. Those gedulin don't have a din of hektish. So that's the first teretz. Ravina Amar loy kasha. Ravina says not a kasha. Kan b'soich sheish esrei ama. Kan chutz l'sheish esrei ama. No, it's Ravina says there's a difference here. If it's within 16 amas, which is what the Gemara just said, where the tree really needs the roots, then the roots go after the tree. Kan chutz l'sheish esrei ama. We're talking about where the roots are further than 16 amas, then it does not go part of the roots. Right? Now we don't know where the 16 amas comes from, so that's going to be the next Gemara with all sorts of math. Right? Should we stop here? Should we continue? No, tomorrow's it's a short top, so we'll leave it. We'll stop over here, and we can get themselves to a mincha on time. Okay, Yashikeach. Say a till math, Akiva, for you. You're gonna give the daf tomorrow, Akiva. Gotta crunch these numbers. Yeah. Okay, Yud Gimel. David. Adona, they know Tishkacheni Netzach. Adona.